Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along to the wilds of Suffolk. I'm out here yet again on my way to work on a Sunday morning, very early on a Sunday morning. The sun is up. It is gorgeous here. I hope it is as wonderful where you are. Welcome along. If it's your first time here, this is what it's all about. This is what this channel is about. I walk along in beautiful locations such as this and give my thoughts and opinions on what's happening in the public consciousness, what's happening in the world at the moment, and my feedback on it, what I think. Now, if you're a returning subscriber here, for all 570 people, I can't believe how many people join me for these journeys. I'm humbled by it. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. So on Wednesday, I did a video on my birthday, talking about them being the most important day of the year. Now, there was a lot of events that happened on that day, and I'll give a sort of a brief summary, if I can, on some of those events, and also touch on what I think is happening with John McAfee. I did a video about that before. And yeah, I think this is my opinion on what's happening with John McAfee, but I'll get to that a bit later on. So let's start off with an event that happened on August 11th, which was Wednesday, which was the Julian Assange hearing here in the UK. Now, the question that I have to ask is first, why is Julian Assange in prison? I mean, originally he was charged with rape by 2 women in Sweden, I believe. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but the charges were dropped because it never happened. But they were trying to extradite him to the US to face charges of that he released military secrets. I mean, military secrets being that the US military blew up a bunch of unarmed people. That information was given to him by a soldier that they said was hacked information. That soldier went to prison as was originally a man, but went to prison as a woman, and is now out in the world. Oh, but Julian Assange is not. Why is that? Now, if we have a look at the way that the world is right now, the way that journalism, I mean, I use that term very, very loosely. Journalism is at the moment, it's propaganda. There's no journalism anymore. Journalism died a long time ago. Now, Julian Assange really is one of the last journalists that there is. He releases information and he backs it up with, with proof. Whereas, it's not as the mainstream media uses, or we have unnamed sources are saying that Donald Trump is a racist, that kind of nonsense. Yeah. So Julian Assange is in prison for being a journalist, essentially. But yet we have all these so-called journalists who are running around in the world who are clearly propagandists and lying scumbags, and they're allowed to walk the earth. Why is that? Now, we're going to go off on a bit of a tangent here. Okay, so stay with me because this makes sense, sort of. Perhaps, or maybe I'm just a whack job. Who knows? It's up for you to decide. This is my thoughts and opinions, remember. So, okay, now it'll come back to why we have journalists that are running around in the world being propagandists and clearly lying to everyone. We have someone that's telling the truth is actually locked up. Okay, inversion of information, inversion of reality. If you want to call reality, we've been through reality before. Okay, so inversion. All right, so at the moment, our world, all right, I'll ask a question first, okay, and then we'll get into the inversion part. All right, why do Satanists, people who believe in Satan, who worship Satan as their god, why do they wear a cross upside down? They invert the cross. Why is that? Inversion. It is twisting of reality to be the opposite of what we perceive to be reality. Okay? Inversion. Okay, they invert the cross. Inversion of information. Now, I know some people are going to push back and say, oh, but not everybody's a Satanist, Chris. But the way the media works is they get these, they call them 4 a.m. talking points, okay? Now, if you listen to the media, they all say the same thing. Exactly. Most of the time, word for word. Okay? I'm sure everyone's seen that thing where it was, I think it was a Fox broadcast, where it was broadcast in all the different regions. There's a danger to our democracy. I'm sure everyone's seen it. They're all like that. All the mainstream media is exactly the same all over the world. I don't care where you live. They're all corrupt. Okay? Now, where do you think those 4 a.m. talking points come from? You think they just make it up? You think they all just happen to think exactly the same thing at exactly the same time? Well, I'm going to burst your bubble a little and say that's not the case. It is a centralized network of people that tell you what the news is. That's the easiest way I can put it. Good morning, how are we doing? Good to see. Isn't it? It's beautiful. So, okay, so if we understand that the centralization of the media, so they all talk the same talking points, they're all on the same page, so they don't all have to be Satanists to invert this reality that we experience. It's a small group of people that invert this reality. And are they Satanists? Well, I'll leave you to decide that. Now, inversion of this reality. Now, this reality, I say, this is where we sort of go off on yet another tangent. This is, all still coming from Julian Assange, which is kind of strange. Good morning. How are we doing? Beautiful morning.
Oh, gorgeous.
Isn't it?
I just need the hills and then I'm at home.
Perfect. Have a great day. Okay, so we're not talking about this reality. Now, this is going to go off on a bit of a tangent, but I promise it'll all make sense, sort of. Now, anybody who's looked at physics, okay, mathematical equations that show how the world works, okay, on a grand scale, on a worldwide scale, okay. It's observable results to mathematical equations. So we can mathematically predict using physics the movement of planets, if there are such things, and all the other things that the mathematics of physics governs, okay? Works on the big scale. Now, when you get to the small scale, physics doesn't work anymore. When you're talking about atomic, subatomic particles, it doesn't work anymore. So there's a separate branch of mathematics called quantum physics, okay? Quantum physics is another branch of mathematics that governs the very, very small. And that works. Physics works for the very, very big, doesn't work for the small. Quantum physics works for the very, very small, doesn't work for the very big. Okay? So, for decades, mathematicians have been looking for a grand unified theory to unify physics and quantum physics, the two branches of mathematics that don't work together, okay? Now, the leading theory at the moment is the multiverse theory, that there's an infinite number of universes that exist simultaneously. So every decision that could possibly be exists simultaneously. Okay? Now, we're told that our reality is mathematically perfect. Okay? Mathematically perfect. You have the Fibonacci sequence, you have the golden ratio, yada, yada, yada. It goes on and on and on, and there's patterns everywhere that we can use mathematics, numbers, to predict how things work. Okay? Mathematics. It's mathematically perfect. Mathematically perfect that the Earth is a perfect distance from the sun to sustain life and, growth of plants and the life that we live here. Okay? Everything's mathematically perfect, but it just happened by accident. It's all just a giant happenstance. It just popped into existence, Now, the reason I bring up mathematics and quantum physics and physics and multiple multiverses, is that every possibility exists simultaneously. Okay? Now, we are in a war. Okay? Now, it's a multi-dimensional war. Okay? Now, I mean that in a lot of different senses, and I'll try and break that down as much as I can. It's a psychological war that we're going through. It's not bullets flying, it's a psychological war. So we're being bombarded with information left and right. Julian Assange was part of that, sharing what he could, and now he's locked up. But we still see the mainstream media doing what they do, lying every day. using propaganda on us. So we're at war. It's a multi-dimensional war, meaning that there are different fronts of this war that are happening at the same time. What we've been living with for the last year and a half, the word that I'm not allowed to say because it got me banned last time, remember? The thing that we've been living with for a year and a half is one dimension of that war, okay? Then we have elections, another dimension of the war, climate change, another dimension. Now, dimension also has another term, another meaning. Now, when you talk about different universes, we're talking about dimensions, different dimensions. Okay, now this is where we're trying to tie all this together in a without scripting it is kind of difficult. But okay, so all these dimensions, extra dimensional, interdimensional existences, realities exist. Okay, there are portals, doorways, gateways, whatever you want to call them, into other dimensions. All right. Now, my belief, whatever you believe is your belief. My belief is that there are a group of individuals, I won't call them people because I don't think they're human, have travelled from one dimension to another and have influenced our reality and inverted our reality. Okay? Inversion of our reality. Up is down, left is right, black is white, it's all, it's all messed up right now. I mean, everything. Just look around in the world. I mean, I might be crazy, that's fine, I might be. But look around in the world. If you think things are normal, then good luck to you. That's all I can say. I mean, there's no normal right now. There is no normal. I mean, this is our reality is twisted. It is so far twisted. Here in the UK, up in Scotland, I read that the government is now allowing 4-year-olds to change gender. 4-year-olds. Like a 4-year-old knows what the fuck is going on. Honestly, when my kids were 4, I think they wanted to be a pony. What do I allow my child to transition into being a pony? I mean, honestly, it is so messed up right now that what I'm saying is it's normal by comparison. So, sorry, I'm sweating a bit here. It's hot. It's so hot. It must be climate change. It has to be. Not that it's summer or anything. Now, let's get back to where we were. This inversion of reality is done through a very small number of people through the media. The media is a propaganda mouthpiece. Governments of the world are signed up to this. I think there's a lot of pressure on them. I think there's a lot of internal, a lot of people have been put into places in positions of power to manipulate the masses. Okay? Yeah. Whether they're interdimensional, I've been through this whole, are there extraterrestrials? Are there people come from other planets? I stated my opinion very clearly that I don't think that there are. I think it is interdimensional beings that are here from other dimensions. So let's put it that way, okay? Alternate realities, dimensions, whatever you want to call it, okay? Now, let's bring it all back to Julian Assange and the information that we're receiving. Now, if we have a group of people that are manipulating the media, as they do, the media is manipulating us through propaganda. And, if you think that I'm not correct in that, just look at what the media has been right about. Okay, they've been screaming about things like Russian collusion for 4 years. That turned out to be bullshit, of course. Weapons of mass destruction, bullshit. Jimmy Savile working at the BBC, which is one of the world's biggest news organisations. Jimmy Savile was a paedophile and a necrophiliac. Worked at the BBC, a news organisation, for 30 years. He was also knighted by the Queen. Okay, so this inversion of reality. We have truth tellers, we have people that try and share truth and information with the masses, and they get locked up. Okay? Then you have other people that, the Capitol insurrection that happened, the Capitol insurrection on January 6th, and Donald Trump caused it, that kind of nonsense that we've heard. There's people that got arrested from that that are still in prison with no charges. Okay, no charges, still in prison. What is that? 8 months? That doesn't sound like totalitarianism, does it? But yet, I think it's like 4 of the Capitol police officers have killed themselves, just like Jeffrey Epstein did, or didn't, as the case may be. Much like the New York police officers that killed themselves after they viewed the Anthony Weiner laptop. Very strange. A lot of people killing themselves. So, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of people that are scared, there's a lot of, there's a lot of people that are trying to share information, but through sharing that information, they're putting their lives or their family's lives at risk. Okay? Julian Assange is one of them. He's in prison for sharing that information. Now, his case has been adjudicated until October. Why are they keeping him there until October? Remember when I said it's going to be a crazy couple of months? Let's see what happens. Okay. Then we get to, no, please, after you. No worries. Then we get to, what else happened? We had the symposium, the cyber symposium. Mike Lindell, another person who's trying to share information, who was sharing information at his cyber symposium, and who got hacked. How you doing? Doing a news report. Who got hacked and they tried to start the symposium. He was talking about PCAPs, but he actually went on to a whole bunch of different information that was more explosive than PCAPs, where they showed that they captured the information of people able, and not only able, but were interfering with the American elections in real time. Okay, there's evidence for that. It exists. So he was sharing that as part of the symposium and got hacked. Why do you need to hack someone who's talking rubbish? And why? Just here's a question that I want to ask those people. They're the Joe Biden supporters. There are none of them, but those people that believe that this is the most secure election in history, then why wouldn't you want to audit it? Just to prove it. Joe Biden got 81 million votes, of course. The most popular president in American history. Let that sink in for a moment, okay? This is a guy I can't remember his name most days. So, we've got these people that are trying to share information, okay? That are being attacked, ridiculed, mocked, put in prison. And the events on August 11th were all to sort of bring out information that isn't in the public consciousness. Okay, there was a lot more that happened, but we'll just touch on those for the time being. But the point I'm getting at is that there are people. Well, I won't call them people because they're not people. There are individuals in this reality that we experience that are very, very powerful and have a lot of sway over governments. The governments of the world don't run the world. Just let's get up to speed on that. The governments of the world don't run the world. The world is run by the corporations and the banks. Okay, if you think that's wrong, you are mistaken. So you need to understand that the corporations and the banks have all the power, all of it. And there's some very wealthy people in the world: George Soros, Bill Gates. I'm going to name him. Mark Zuckerberg, robot, cyborg, not human. Mark Zuckerberg never wrote a line of code in his life, didn't write Facebook. Facebook is a DARPA project, always has been, always will be. It started its life as, what the hell was it called now? Anyway, but it's a DARPA project. Facebook was not written by Mark Zuckerberg. And the twins, well, how do they become billionaires? Yeah, that's interesting. So, yeah, this reality that we live in is being inverted by a small group of people that decide how the world is going to run. You know, and I've talked about it many times before, about World Economic Forum, Davos, you know, and the people involved in that, and the people who are going up against them. Now, if you have control over the media, over governments, over policy, education, medicine, pharmaceutical industry, what we know, what we can put in our bodies, everything. If you have control over all of that, what more do you need? What more do you need? And why do you need all that control? Herd immunity. I wonder why herd immunity is called herd immunity. Herd. Where have I heard that before? Herd immunity. Are we a herd? And why are we a herd? What are we a herd of? Herd of humans? Is that even a plural? Or a group of? A herd? A herd. That's funny. Isn't that more livestock kind of terminology? That's interesting. Herd immunity. All right, we're not going to go down that route today. But just ponder that for just a moment. Herd immunity. Okay, herd. Right. Now, as promised, John McAfee. All right. John McAfee has been involved in cybersecurity. He wrote the McAfee antivirus software many years ago, has worked for all the three-letter agencies. He's connected, as I've said before, okay? Now, he has been on the run for tax evasion, apparently, and been on the run for tax evasion in the US. Obviously, it wasn't tax evasion, but let's just call it that. And he was arrested in Spain. Now, he said many times, if I'm ever to commit suicide, a la Epstein, this is the important part. You know, he tweeted, if I'm ever to commit suicide, a la Epstein, I didn't do it. You know, and then he had this coin that he put out called Whacked, you know, and we were told he was arrested in Spain and he killed himself in jail in Spain. But after he sent out some tweets saying he wouldn't kill himself, he sent out one that said, I'm happy here, the food is good, I've got friends, you know, everything's good, I'm not going to kill myself, right? Then he kills himself. A la Epstein. Now, if you've been here for any period of time before, you'll know who Epstein is and who he's connected to. If not, then go back and have a look at one of my older videos about Epstein. And you'll get an idea of what's going on. Epstein, convicted paedophiles, they're best friends with who? Prince Andrew? Oh, Bill Gates? Oh, Mark Zuckerberg? Oh, that's strange. Anyway, what do I know, right? I'm crazy. Now, so John McAfee, the thing that stood out to me, he was supposed to be releasing 31 terabytes of information upon his death. Okay, dead man's switch. Now, my wife has asked me before, and I'll try and explain as best I can what a dead man's switch is. A dead man's switch is, let's just say you are a cybersecurity expert, a computer expert who's worked with all the agencies, and you've got a bunch of information that you want to keep protected. And should you disappear or die or whatever, then you have a safety switch, a dead man's switch, that will release that information upon your disappearance, death, whatever you want to call it. Okay? Now that is usually you have a dead man switch set up where if you don't phone or email or log into a website for a period of time, that information is then, good morning, that information then is then broadcast to wherever. So, you know, you can set that up quite easily. I could set up, I'm not a computer expert, where if you don't log into your website or whatever it is, a specific place where things are stored, that information is then triggered to be released. So should you be locked up or killed, then obviously you can't log into your website or your phone or whatever it is, then that information will be released. Now, we had a countdown timer that was supposed to release the information, some time ago. It never got released. And I've looked everywhere. I really have. And there's people that say, oh, we've cracked it. And nonsense. John McAfee's wife said, no, he's definitely gone. I don't think John McAfee is dead. Now, I've heard a story as well that a close confidant of John McAfee said that he travelled with John McAfee a lot, and I know John McAfee. That the information was due to be released by two individuals that were supposed to go and get it and release it. Okay, now why would a computer expert rely on people to release the information when he has access to the computers and the internet? Honestly, it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh yes, but then the buildings got blown up in Miami and came down, and the people were scared for their lives, so they never released the information. Garbage, nonsense, I'm calling bullshit, absolute total garbage. John McAfee, like Epstein, is not dead. That's the solution. He's not dead. And, if you've got enough money and the ingenuity, which McAfee does, you can easily disappear and fake your own death and get out of prison. People, bribes, and whatever it is. And this is my thoughts and opinions. Remember, John McAfee is not in prison. He is doing what John McAfee does, and he will be releasing information as and when. When that's going to be, I have no idea, but that's what I think is going on. John McAfee isn't dead. That's why the information has not been released. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see, I suppose. But all that said, I just wanted to give a quick report on what I see going on, the inversion of reality, why it's inverted, who's inverting it, what it means, what's inversion all about, where does it come from. So it is, like I say, I'm just touching all this. There's so much more to it. There's so much deeper. Now, the reason I talked about mathematics and the equations of physics, quantum physics, it's mathematically perfect. Okay? Almost like it was designed that way. Intelligent design, you say? But there's no God. There's no creator. Remember that. If something's mathematically perfect, they just popped into existence, and it's just it's a lucky happenstance. Okay, remember that. I will be doing another video very soon about a very sensitive subject. I'm not going to tell you anything about it just now. It's a very sensitive subject, and I'm trying to sort of put it together in my head of how I'm going to talk about it, because it's a really difficult one to touch on, really, really difficult. And if I don't do it right, it's just going to come out, it's going to just upset people. And I'm not looking to upset people. I want people to enjoy the content and make them think, and start questioning this reality that we experience as reality, and just question things, because we can't go through our lives just accepting what we're told as being reality and truth, because we've seen many times it's not. Okay, now all that said, thank you so much for joining me for the walk today. It's always a pleasure to be here and walking in nature, and it's a pleasure and an honor and a privilege to be able to have so many people join me for these walks and talks. So thank you very much, one and all, for being here. Look out for the next video. Like I say, very, very sensitive subject. It is going to trigger some people, but I think it's essential for what we're doing and where we are right now. And I hope you enjoy it. All right, hope you enjoyed today. Love you all. Get out into the world. Look at it. It is beautiful. Get out, get some sunshine, some vitamin D, zinc, maybe some vitamin C as well. And get out into the world and share the world with people. You've seen how many people I've bumped into this morning. It's awesome to interact with people. People have been starved of attention for so very long, and we can't live like that. That's not how we were built to live. So get out into the world, share some love, do some good in the world. Get out there and interact with people, because people need that, okay? Do good, be good, and look after yourselves, because that's the most important thing you can do. Right, love you all. Thank you so much for being here, and I shall look forward to seeing you real soon. Take care. Bye.